and welcome to my YouTube channel and blog. I'm Jenny Hall. Thanks for joining me for another card making tutorial. Today I'm using the watercolor pencils from 2017 Occasions catalog from Stampin Up, and I'm pairing it with Swan Lake stamp set. This is the cutest stamp set. It has really pretty swans and baby swans and some floral images and a couple of different sentiments. It's really nice looking. To make my project, I'm going to start out with a piece of Sahara sand cardstock, and once it is scored and folded, it measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. For a little bit of interest, I'm using a piece of pattern paper from the 2015 through 2017 In Color Designer Series paper stack. That is a long name for one piece of pattern paper. It's a piece of mint macaron pattern paper from a giant big stamp stack, and it has little tiny words that are written in it, and it's nice words. So I thought it would be something that would be a nice flow between the images that are going to be colored and the plain cardstock. The watercolor pencils are very easy to work with, and they're really easy to match. All of the colors correspond to one of the colors in Stampin' Up's already, all the ink pads and all the cardstock, their existing colors are what matches this set of colored pencils. And that makes it really easy for you to be able to use them on many different projects. I use a piece of Bristol cardstock paper here, and I buy that at my local craft store. I have that is it measures the total height of the card, which is 5 1/2, and I think I cut it down to about 3 1/2. I wanted to be able to see the pattern paper on the outside of the colored image. The pencils work really easy with paper. You do need to be conscious of what kind of paper you choose to work with whenever you're going to make any kind of a project that has a larger amount of fluid versus a piece of cardstock that you're only putting a stamped image on. A stamped image carries a minimal amount of fluid over to the paper. If you're going to do watercoloring or use a blender pen, then you have to use a cardstock that will be able to handle absorbing more water without the top layer peeling away or kind of beading up, and it just, you put a lot of work into a piece of art and then you see that it's kind of coming apart on you. That's a very frustrating feeling. So be conscious of what kind of paper you choose. I suggest watercolor paper or Bristol paper. Bristol is a type of paper that you can find at any craft store. I'm using the various colors that are in this package of pencils to be able to demonstrate to you exactly how nice and vivid all of the colors pencils are. The orange is pumpkin pie color. It's a really nice color, and it does translate over well into the paper. This is early espresso, and one way that you can get a couple of different hues is to be able to take two pencils and kind of layer the colors together. I'm going to be doing that on some of the leaf images. I start off with Old Olive here, and I don't really like the color that Old Olive is going to give to the lily pads. So I brought over the Bermuda Bay color, and I'm adding this, and it's going to end up giving me something that is a little bit, let's say a little bit of cooler color than teal. The Bermuda Bay and the Old Olive are not two color choices that I would normally put together. But once they are put together, then that is one color that is going to match the mint macaron pattern paper that I'm going to also have as a layer on the card. Here is the water, and what I'm going to do is, because I know that the watercolor pencil is going to spread color out, you start off with a small concentration of color, and then the water brush is going to move it away from the area to fade out. I'm just giving the water to the lines, or giving the blue pencil color to the lines of water. So I want to have a lot of blue where the image of the different animal or the flower hits the water, but I don't want to have a card that is completely covered in blue water. I hope that makes sense and translate out well with sometimes what I'm thinking in my head does not come out of my mouth, so I apologize. But what I don't want is a whole card full of water. And if you look at the image, you can see that there is a lot of area that is covered by water, but I don't want all of the card to look like water. So the way that I'm going to solve this issue is I'm going to concentrate the blue color in certain areas, and then I'm going to bring a wink of Stella, a clear wink of Stella, and cover all of the whole water area with wink of Stella. So here is the blender pen, and if you have never used a blender pen, then it kind of allows you to make an image look almost like a marker. There is a tool that's available at craft stores that's called a blending stump. I think that's what it's called. And it's basically a piece of paper that's wrapped upon itself to form like a pencil. And you can use that also to blend out any kind of colored pencils. It especially works really good with the oily style or oil-based colored pencils. This is not an oily style or oily based color pencil, but you could still use it to blend out better than as if you didn't blend anything at all. A water brush works really well in combination with watercolor pencils. A water brush allows you to control the amount of water that you're bringing over to the paper, and it also allows you to be able to clean the brush just by squeezing the barrel and rubbing the bristles onto a piece of paper or a paper towel or something of that nature. The way that I approached coloring the swan on this project is there is no solid color of white. Even a cloud, if you look at it and analyze the coloring, it's not solid white, it's white and gray, and sometimes around the sides it might be a little purple, a little bit blue, but the point is that it's not just white. So to separate the white swan away from the rest of the project, I didn't want to just leave it a big white space. I wanted it to look like this swan actually had some work done on her. So I concentrated gray coloring in the shadows and brought that area out to the rest of the swan. So that gave a gentle and subtle blending to the contours of the swan's body. Here is the clear wink of Stella, and I'm covering all of the card that the area that contains water is all going to be that nice sparkling wink of Stella look to it. You could also choose to stamp onto shimmery white cardstock, and that would give the whole card that wink of Stella look. Here's the piece of mint macaron designer series paper, and it's a really pretty paper to use. If you have not ever checked out the designer series paper stack of the in color, Stampin' Up puts one out every year, and it is the 5 different in colors, and they are in 4 different patterns, I believe. So mint macaron has the scripty words, it has white polka dots, it has a stripe, and then it has a little, like a couple of different flower images that are very small and concentrated. It's a really great way to be able to use some kind of in color on a project, and it'll always last you for 2 years because it'll be current for Stampin' Up for 2 years. So it's rare that you're going to find a pattern paper that's actually going to be good for more than 1 season, and it'll go a long way. There's a lot of paper in the stack. I'm using a piece of scrap that I have measured out to go as a sentiment holder, and I'm doing it very easily and just cutting a little bit of a fishtail onto the banner, and I'm wrapping some linen thread around the card. I chose to use linen thread because it's a very natural color, and I feel that all of the elements in the card itself are a very neutral and natural looking. The only thing that I really am not pleased about in this project, and you know, there's always got to be some one thing that us crafters don't like about our own work, and that is the blue color, that it just doesn't match very well with the mint macaron. It goes okay with Sahara sand, but the mint macaron doesn't work so great with the blue. But I wanted to set out to show you guys what it looks like to use these pencils, and I wanted to use that blue because it is the very most blue that's in this set. The Bermuda Bay is not so much a blue as it is a almost a teal color, and so you're not going to use that the way that you would traditionally use the blue. The one thing that I am not so excited about with colored pencils is that we're going to see a lot of projects with people using exactly the same colors. So one way to avoid that is to mix up the colors a bit. Take the blue colored pencil and mix it with another colored pencil and get a brand new shade. And that way you can make the project all your own. It can be your own reflection of your artistic style. Here is some little sequins from the metallics assortment, and I thought that the gold was not going to mix so well with this project, so I stuck with white, clear. I think I used one silver and one black way in the corner background. So thank you guys for joining me for another card making tutorial. I invite you to go over to my blog at jennystampsup.com, and once there you can subscribe to my channel and you'll receive an email every single day with a new card making idea. Thanks for joining me once again, and I'll see you in the next video.
Thanks for watching the video. See you next time.